Not enough people are talking about this, and I need people to care about this. Oklahoma senator introduces bill to criminalize adult content and imprison creators, and if you produce, distribute, or possess porn, you'll face prison. The day after Inauguration Day, Oklahoma Senator Dusty Deavers introduced a slate of legislation to restore moral sanity to the state, introducing criminalizing pornography. The bill, SB 593, would prohibit pornography, and those who produce, distribute, or possess porn in the state would face up to 10 years in prison. Project 2025, the conservative policy wish list for Trump's second term, calls for exactly this: a ban on pornography and the imprisonment of all its creators. Despite your feelings about pornography or the adult industry, it should raise alarm bells when politicians start calling things and people degenerates of society and seek to criminalize them. Quote, pornography is both degenerate material and a highly addictive drug, Deavers said in an announcement of the bill. It ruins marriages, ruins lives, destroys innocence, warps young people's perception of the opposite sex, turns women into objects, turns men into objects, degrades human dignity, and corrodes the moral fabric of society. Any decent society will stand against this plague with the full weight of the law. Porn isn't recognized in the DSM-5 as a mental disorder due to the lack of evidence, and the American Psychological Association points to the study that suggests that porn can be used compulsively rather than an addiction. Many activities can be done compulsively, like eating or shopping. Another study suggests that one's perceived addiction to porn leads to more psychological stress over time. This bill was not introduced to cut down on human trafficking. This bill was introduced to criminalize people. And before you scroll away because you think this won't affect you, Oklahoma bill would ban sending sexy selfies unless you're married. Deavers introduced several other bills as well, calling for measures such as abolishing abortion, ending no-fault divorce, and prohibiting drag queen story hour. I'm going to read a bit of Pornography, Structures, Agency, and Performance. Writers who claim that we are becoming too sexualized or pornified want young people to stick to conservative, monogamous, heterosexual, romantic, reproductive-oriented sex. All other forms of sexual agency are deemed false empowerment or false consciousness. Such an approach treats relationships and reproduction rather than pleasure as the endgame of sex. It ignores differences in sexual subjectiveness and the ways that other social identity systems such as race, class, and ability feed into the experiences of gender and sexuality. It assumes that everything that is pleasurable in popular media is bad, whereas all forms of duty, formal schooling, and government allegiance are good. The problem isn't that the media is teaching young people to have sex. In our opinion, the problem is that too much of the sex on offer isn't grounded in principles of respect, consent, diversity, equity, and open communication. If anything, we think that the pornification thesis is counterproductive in developing a world with greater gender equity. For pornification writers, where pornography is present, sexual self-determination is impossible. The risk of such a position is that it cannot account for a person engaged in either the production or consumption of pornography as anything other than damaged, unhealthy, and abnormal. It therefore reinforces the stigmas and oppressions of individuals who fail to meet a very narrow litmus test of sexual normalcy. Furthermore, such an approach pathologizes pornography as a problem of individual weakness and privileges a sexual status quo with scant attention to the embedded hierarchies of power that maintain it. Eventually, as the keen government attention to sexualization around the globe suggests, such a framework can lead the way toward increasingly restrictive governance schema that seek to curtail and even prevent a plurality of sexual expressiveness. So who is Dusty Deavers? Dusty Deavers is an American pastor turned senator. Here's his information so you can contact his office. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to contact. We're going to email. We're going to call. We're gonna work. Don't let people tell you that this isn't a Christian conservative agenda, and don't let people tell you that this isn't going to push Christian nationalist family values.